Ladies and gentlemen, and lady gentlemen, and gentlemanly ladies, on this week's On the Rocks, we welcome Emmy Award Winning and Tony nominee Anne Heche with the PR queen of the Duffy Co, Heather Duffy Boylston. They are besties and now podcasters. And me, your favorite host with the sassy most. Raise a glass and let the drinks begin.
Thank you for being
Boulevard.
Life is a banquet, and most poor suckers are starving to death.
I'd like to propose a toast.
This is On the Rocks with Alexander, where I drink with your favorite celebrities as we talk about fashion, entertainment, pop culture, reality TV, and, well, that's about it. So pop a cork, lean back, and raise a glass to On the Rocks.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
All right, I have been informed that one of our guests actually has a bottle of champagne in her purse, so I think it is going to be a bumpy night. Buttons and bows and pantyhose, On the Rocks podcast, a place where we're too glam to give a damn. You get $600, and you get $600, and you get $600. Perfect. I can use it for my third of rent 6 months ago. Politicians, you better go to bed early on Christmas Eve because you're going to be visited 3 times. Like us on Twitter and Instagram at On The Rocks On Air. Send me an email. Book me for a wedding, funeral, quinceañera, bris. I don't care. I will show up. Socially distanced. Info at ontherocksradioshow.com. Send us your questions, comments, and nudes if you're cute. Our presenting sponsors today are JustFor.Fans and the newest small business to hit the nation, fandaddies.com. JustFor.Fans is the adult award-winning site connecting an all-inclusive array of content creators and their fans in a totally safe, COVID-friendly way. And, you know, we're all a little lonely during lockdown, so set up your free profile today at JustFor.Fans. Also, Fan Daddies, high fives and good vibes is your go-to site to get the hottest accessory for 2021. Yes, the fabulous clacking fans. Designs that are totally fetch. You may think that fetch can't happen, but it can. They call me a fetch bitch, okay? Go to fandaddies.com and get the fan that best suits your image. Until we can clack our way through prides and festivals and live events, it's the perfect accessory to spruce up your Instagram selfies or send as a gift. So extra. Fandaddies.com. Okay. Kurt, do you have a pun? Make it quick. Make it fast.
I do have a pun for you.
Okay. Oh, he's so punny.
Yeah. Did you know somebody stole all my lamps? Yeah. And
You couldn't see a thing?
I couldn't be more delighted.
There we go. Okay. I'm so sorry. The show is presented by Straw Hut Media. You can watch and or listen to our over 235 episodes at ontherocksradioshow.com for free. Hello to our listeners around the nation on every major podcast platform and on the Facebook live pages of GED Magazine, I Love Gay LGBT, and Gay Desert Guide, and of course our very own On the Rocks Radio Show Facebook page. We are now streaming on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, on the outat.tv, free to use app. Follow us wherever you catch us and leave a comment. Okay, we need to get to it. Let's introduce our guest today, Miss Anne Heche, an accomplished Emmy Award Winning actor, most recently seen, of course, dancing it up on ABC's Dancing with the Stars, and also in The Vanished, where she co-stars with my ex-boyfriend Thomas Jane. Other recent film features include Best of Enemies, where she starred opposite my ex-girlfriend Taraji P. Henson and Sam Rockwell. Of course, My Friend Dahmer. If you haven't seen My Friend Dahmer, you have to see that. Also starred in Lionsgate feature film Wildcard opposite Jason Statham. All of these people that I've dated. She followed that with films Catfight opposite Sandra Oh and Alicia Silverstone, The Last Word opposite Amanda Seyfried and Shirley MacLaine, and Opening Night with Topher Grace, Taye Diggs, and Rob Riggle. And of course, we love her from Rampart, Cedar Rapids, The Other Guys, John Q, Psycho, Volcano, Return to Paradise, 6 Days, 7 Nights, Wag the Dog, I Know What You Did Last Summer. We didn't do anything this summer. And Dottie Brasco. Her TV credits include a starring role in Chicago PD. Before that, starred on the NBC series The Brave. She co-created, executive produced, and wrote for the NBC series Bad Judge, starring Kate Walsh. She has 3 Emmy nominations and 1 win. Nominated for a Tony Award as a lead actress for her performance as Lily Garland in The 20th Century, a role she reprised with Alec Baldwin for a one-night event at the Roundabout Theater. And add podcaster to this list of credits. You can check out Better Together, a podcast about friendship, along with best friend and Spitfire, Heather Duffy Boylston. Heather Duffy is president, CEO of the Duffy Co, a full-service PR, branding, and marketing communications firm based in LA, specializing in building brands and telling compelling stories in a way that engages media. And in 2019, Heather founded Heche Duffy Productions with Miss Anne Heche. She considers her co-founding Largemont Charter School among one of her proudest achievements. She's a native Angelino, also a diehard Rams fan, don't know why, and a Dodger fan. Girl, we're going to talk. She earned her degree in marketing from the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandise. Please welcome Heather Duffy Boylston. Oh, girl, I did research on these pics. I'm like,
my goodness.
and I have kid pics of both of you too. We'll be flashing during that.
Goodness.
Okay, first things first. Best friends. How and when did you meet? It's been like a decade
and some change.
A little bit more now. I like when Heather tells this story because we are unlikely. We're unlikely, but the most likely friends, I would say. And it took us a while to meet and be able to have this incredible partnership that we have now. But I'll let you tell them how we met.
We met at the Los Angeles Tennis Club.
Oh, so chic.
So chic. Playing tennis. Anne came to play in one of our tennis clinics with,
I had never played tennis
the ladies
before.
who tennis.
And so you just go to the tennis club just as a first time?
It was my son. My son was 7 years old. I was raised in I never would have been a part of a club, but I always wondered what the heck that meant.
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean? And we moved into the neighborhood because I was doing starting hung, and I said to my youngest son, you know what? If you're going to start, you're going to do something, I'll start too. Cut to me at a ladies' clinic where I was not supposed to be.
Well, you just didn't play tennis yet.
No, I did not.
And this is, serious.
And who's going to tell Anne Heche to leave the court? I mean, like, who's going to say that?
No, in fact, she rescued me. She's like, uh-oh.
Well, I knew what was about to go down, that she was about to get in there and have to swing the racket and play with these women, right? And so she just kind of, I could tell it was happening as she was walking up. She was like, oh shit. Like, what is this? And who are all these women in their Lululemon? She came in like sweats and a t-shirt.
And no tennis racket. And so from moment one, she's like, have some coffee. Don't worry about them.
I think I gave you a racket.
And then you're like, here, hold this. Go over there, get in line. Try if the ball comes toward you, try to hit it, and if you don't, get in the other line. And the ball certainly came toward me, didn't it?
It hit her in the face. And I literally said to everybody, like, don't hit her in the moneymaker.
Yeah.
I mean, she announced it, which was one of the funny things.
Well, I was
about
trying
Heather.
to make it light because
and
it's
like. At least draw attention to the fact that I was in boyfriend sweats and obviously had no idea how or why I was there and shouldn't be. And she just protected me and has basically, from that moment on, been the person who I trust the most. And as I said to her that night, when of course we started hanging out, I'm like,
we went to a Halloween party at the club that night, and I was dressed
like
night?
a sister that night because it was
I probably said to her, "You coming to the party later? Come to the party,"
I'm like, I don't go to parties.
And I was dressed as a sister wife, like with the full,
yes,
the full on get
And again came out to rescue me on the balcony of the bar, and she's like, "You can come in." I'm like, "Who are you? You're dressed like my mother used to be in the cult. Like, what is going on?" She's like, "Oh, this? Yes, I bought this costume from the Real Sister Wives."
I did. The sun was going down as I was ordering it, and because I'm like, "What color?" She's like, "Well, it's getting dark, so I'm not sure what the colors are." And I had to tell her, right? What am I supposed to say? I'm dressing up like you for Halloween, So I had to say that I was buying it for my daughter and her friends because they were going to prom, and just the dresses we were looking at were just so risque.
And so, don't you know, the cult women were like, "Give them! Oh my God, send them overnight! Save these girls! Rescue!"
I'm gonna wear them on one of our shows.
Oh my God!
I've got the outfit still.
Oh no, we
I
have to
still
do
have
that.
it.
Okay, next Halloween.
Why wait? Do it for the next tennis club workshop day. From listening to your podcast, Better Together, the people that you have met all say the same thing: is that the chemistry between you, it's like you've been friends for decades and decades and decades.
Well, we're not that old. I mean, come on.
Well, I know, but it's this sense of camaraderie and chemistry that you don't see genuine friendships. I think this kind of strong friendships that work together. Play together and also be there for each other. It can be a little shaky. I've had a best friend for 20 years. I want to know, what are some of the biggest life obstacles you guys have worked through together that you've been there for each other? And I know Better Together is really about being there for somebody. What would you say were some of the biggest obstacles that you had that you were glad that you were there for each other?
I mean, we've both had relationships end. We've gone through our kids as teenagers. We've gone through ups and downs financially. We've had, business things that worked and some that didn't, and
I think one of the
moving
things,
you out of your house in Las Palmas,
oh my goodness
that was
sakes.
a
When
shit
my
show.
My ex had kept my car on the street when I was out of town, and then I had to come back and move, and of course he left it on the street, so it had been booted. And Heather and I
It had a boot.
Move out. We
We were a
less
little
than 24
tipsy
hours
too.
to move.
We were trying to get the we were trying to get the boot off the car.
Well,
which you need an engineering degree to do. Well, first you have to pay the bill, which was very high.
Which was of course he had left it on the street where I
I was probably like,
Oklahoma
I'll
shooting 13 minutes for
I'll
like
just
3
put it
weeks.
on my card and get it off for you. And then
You're
I'm
like,
yeah,
no, I won't. I don't have that money.
I'm not going to do that for you. I need the card.
This takes our friendship too far. I think one of the things that delights me when people do talk about our chemistry is the reason why we started working together and talking about why we wanted to work together was that our honesty with each other and our acceptance of each other has never actually been anything other than 100%. We have taken each other, and I'm not a girly girl friend. I don't go out and drink with I'm in a way a very shy.
Neither one of us are super
person.
girly.
We're not. Yeah, it's not that I don't like gossip. You know, I do a lot of work, and when I have conversations, I like them to be truthful, and that it had been a very difficult thing for me in my life to learn to trust. And the obstacle for me to answer your question that has been overcome in our friendship is that I literally learned what it was to be loved by somebody, which meant there's no 1% not love in that. And Heather, in a way, I think we've kind of taught each other that, like, hey, you know what, I really like I really dig it. You're
And we know each other and all of our, faults and
now it doesn't. We just
you
don't
say
judge
that I have
people.
ADD with love, right?
Yeah.
She's like, hey, ADD, come back.
The other thing is
I
obviously
will
I can
zone.
ramble a bit, but
that is true.
And I do like to pontificate.
And then I zone.
And she
out.
zones. I'm like, hey, ADD, is there anything I'm saying to you that's interesting here?
Well,
like,
there was
we're
20
shooting.
minutes ago before you went
And she's
off.
like,
and
sip.
yeah.
She's like, where was that hairbrush that I swear I left it? Did I wash the dog?
But it's so funny during COVID when we're not doing our social thing, we're not having to do a lot of the social expectations on us, and so we're kind of alone, so to speak, with our thoughts. And you kind of realize who is around in your life for just hanging out and just for fun times, and then it's like to really kind of either see somebody or Zoom with somebody, like you have to really want to.
Oh, yes.
And you kind of look at your friendship Rolodex, and for me, things have totally changed.
Wow.
Because,
that's interesting.
Yeah, because it's that sincerity and it's that real friendship. We know in LA, everybody wants to be your friend as long as you're doing something or whatever. But when push comes to shove, when you go through obstacles, that's why I asked you about obstacles, then it kind of tests the waters. COVID has tested us all. It's like,
yes.
Do I really need to talk to that person? I haven't missed that person, but that person was my life.
Right.
Oh,
Or other people come into your life that affect you in a different way. Because, we're all hurting during COVID in different ways.
Yes.
And it's who you feel honest. Like you said, that it's the first time you kind of felt love. And it's, maybe the first time that you accepted that friendship too, because accepting that friendship is sometimes
accepting
difficult.
love would be the half the battle for sure. I think that we all tried to do, but the way people live and have different roles in our lives and how that shifted, I think that's a lot of people have been looking at that particular thing in their lives during this trying time. What is meaningful to me, and what am I going to put my time and my energy and my intent into, because we're faced with more difficulty than I think we've ever seen unified in the world.
Yes. Okay, I have a hot topic. As I mentioned, I had a best friend have a best friend, I don't know what the status is, for 20 years, and we've been through it all. This last social and political climate that we've been through has been pretty intense. So I want to ask what your opinion is, as a hot topic. Do differences in politics and social views warrant the end of a friendship?
Are you Trumpy?
Oh.
Me? Do I look like a Trumpy?
No, well,
Girl.
I was just asking.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't imagine it. I mean, if you've had a best friend for 20 years, that all of a sudden that would come to surprise you that you had differences.
So here's the thing. I think us
Is
as
your
a
friend
nation.
Trumpy?
Yes. Part of the LGBT community, by the way. And there was always this understanding before. It's like, okay, you think your way and I'll think mine. Just like we do with our neighbors. We know who they're voting for by the signs that they put out. But this last, 6 months has been pretty turbulent to the point that now you can't kind of ignore it and so in your opinion, does it warrant, we are so opposite that I cannot continue this friendship? Because it's not like we're ever going to have a conversation where either one of us is going to come to the other side.
Well, is there a possibility where you're speaking outside of the political realm and saying, let's put aside what we're talking about? Is there a conversation to be had about what our intent is in trying to engage in a conversation about what is right and what is wrong, which is usually what the arguments are about. I call them the Democrats and the Republicans. We are both idiotic in our treatment of the divide. And making that divide how we judge others. You are more eloquent than I am.
Well, we talked about this recently. It's in this last, election and with this last administration, we have gotten so divided and so on the right and so on the left.
Yes.
And because of social media and technology, we're fed everything that we believe. So we're just spoon-fed it. So you dig in deeper, deeper, deeper. And I think that, and I always have to check myself, I'm, far to the left. And I have to, I force myself to watch Fox News at the top of the hour to see how they're presenting it. So
I
that
started watching Fox News for the first time
it
ever.
It makes your stomach
to get
just
that.
turn.
Yeah.
That Tucker Carlson and that Laura Ingraham just is the devil.
Well, we're not going to have them as guests.
We are not.
Although I think it would be interesting to talk to Laura Ingraham as a woman who has been a single mom, who has been through it. It's like it's so weird. She blocked me on Twitter.
But again, the assumption that we make because of a definition that defines, we have dumped ourselves down enough to actually hear the word Trump supporter or Kamala supporter come out of somebody's mouth, and then you know who they are, what it is, and then you're offended, like, oh my God, but aren't you gay? How could you possibly?
That's
we have
exactly
diminished
right.
each other to another person's identification that has been falsely hypnotized through the media for us to munch on so that we continue the divide. We do not look at each other and go, what is the intent with our bond together to look forward into the future? And I think that is their very meticulous, agreed upon way to keep us away from looking at actually the truth of what's going on.
I agree with you. And the conversations that because we've had many conversations, and the last few conversations have been huge blow-ups. And it has been a regurgitation of what's on the news,
Right.
facts that probably neither him nor I know the actual facts.
Yes.
We're just what
And
we've
but
heard.
hear about something that's in the past, what it does is drag us in to look behind at something that we can't solve anyway because it's already there, rather than an intent to look to the future, which I think is some of the dumbing down that we have been conditioned to accept as normal.
I can relate to that because I grew up in in Palos Verdes, which is a very, turns out, Republican place.
I grew up in Orange County.
Okay.
Yep.
So same scenario. So I have these friends that I went, nobody that, I still keep in contact with, but I have family members. And the thing with Trump is that he's different than any other president, because if you support him, it stands for so many other things. But I would hate for him to take that away from us too, our relationships.
That's a good point.
And that's the thing that, like, with my
That's the
with
point,
my
the
family,
divide.
like, I will not let him take that from me. So, like, I didn't speak to I kind of waited, I just kind of put it on pause, and I was like, we'll regroup after the election, because he can't take that from us too.
Well, what I would ask you about your conversation, and I think our habit is the distraction, and so we start arguing about the argument rather than beginning a conversation with it. If you're going to go into a difficult topic like politics is right now, agreeing about what it is that your conversation wants to be about. If in fact you're trying to heal a relationship, we're arguing about this thing over here. What are you arguing about? Are you trying to argue to your rightness? Are you trying to argue? Because that in and of itself is, again, creating the divide that is the hypnotism that we all are agreeing is habits. So
And how I would start the conversation, I would bring it to the human level, not politics. I mean, like, this is what's being done to this group of people, or this was who was attacked or murdered this time. How can you support this kind of
What do you agree
theme?
on? Let's talk about the things that we agree on.
That's what we're trying to
Who's hot?
establish as a way to connect conversation, to say, you know what, I can look at you and I can name 5 I could judge you right away, or we could say, let's start with an agreement.
But aren't the stakes
and
high
build from
enough
there.
with like all of the other presidential debates? You would have a heated debate and then it would be fine. It's like whoever became president still got us through this. Don't you think this was a little different?
Totally.
Well, I mean,
Everything
every
about
single
it is
fact
different.
is different. I mean, the facts are different, but it doesn't. It's
And you
still, our
keep waiting
habit around the facts and our habit around what is happening is continuing to grow and evolve in being a divide rather than a connect.
And you keep waiting. I kept waiting for people that I knew that supported Trump. I would make the mistake of, well, now what do you think?
That's exactly.
And then they would look at you and go, I think he's a genius. And you'd be like, what the fuck?
And that's how our conversations would start. Would be just like, it's like, okay, now you realize, and it would be like, no, even more we have to support because it's kind of too late. Oh, I could talk about this forever, but we have a lot to talk about. But I wanted to know your kind of opinion.
I would say don't let Trump take that friendship from you.
Well, that's nice.
I do like that. I've never heard
that's really nice advice.
Yeah.
And begin the next conversation with agreeing upon something that's an intent to gain understanding of each other, not prove the other wrong.
You're both wanting to make the world better. You just have different ways of,
or maybe you should agree on that before you have a conversation, and if you don't, then bye.
Yeah. Better together. That's just a little hint at Better
That's
Together.
right.
And we're going to talk more about Better Together. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to delve into the multifaceted career of Miss Anne Heche when we come back. And we're back. That's how quick we have it. Okay, we're going to get down to it. And Heather, I would love your help in kind of doing a little retrospective over your career because you have seen Anne's career in a whole different light that none of us will ever get to see or know. Instead of asking you the same kind of questions, I have been a fan of yours, and I'm sure everybody has told you that.
After the list of jobs you said when I came into that, I'm like, she needs to retire, that woman. Oh, my goodness.
By the way, she's on All Rise now on CBS
yes,
Monday nights.
I heard.
That was very flattering. Thank
on
you.
your last podcast episode, actually. I heard that. So I want to know more about the creative aspect because when you do look at your body of work, you've hit every single genre. You've hit drama, TV, comedy, stage, action films, shot-for-shot remakes. What is it that you look for and want from your director, and what do you not want in a director? Because you've worked with so many different types.
Well, some of that has been dictated by the facts of my life, and before when I was a newbie to Hollywood and dropped in on it and called a wild animal set free from her cage. I had a whole bunch of opinions about a lot of different things that guided me in certain ways to be able to make decisions that I've made that have been, now made the headlines. Then after I got blacklisted for standing up for what I believed in when I took Ellen to the premiere of Volcano, all of a sudden I was in a different situation because I was blacklisted. I wasn't allowed to work for studios. Then I got into the situation where the way I chose my jobs was, you're offering it to me? Yes, thank you, Lifetime. Thank you for putting food on my table. Thank you. So that's, I started writing and directing and such. But more than anything, what has driven me is understanding how I could connect to a role. It didn't matter to me if it was a Lifetime movie for $5 that was putting, or that it was a Harrison Ford movie. And that was something that I had to understand that I was unique in that I chose to do with 100% a work of art that connected to a pool of consciousness that gave me the right to try to play women in a way that allowed them to see themselves and not feel like they were judged. And that's what kind of built the army of now tools on my belt that I have, to where also I call myself a performance artist more than I would an actress. And that's part of the fun of evolving myself as an artist, and I push myself in any way I can, which led me to Dancing with the Stars. And sometimes we make good choices, and sometimes we should think a little bit harder about the ones we're making.
Come on.
But I love that Dancing with the Stars, we got to see it in a different light. And I know on your last podcast you talked about how when you had done underground comedy, you were just like, okay, this is what we're going to try.
Here's a good idea.
Now. Yeah.
Well, let's say when Heather and I started this understanding of us being creative partners together, it did begin with, I wanted to do a follow-up to my book, Call Me Crazy, and I wanted to call it Call Me Anne, but I thought that if I performed...
you said you wanted it to be called Call Me Crazier, and then we...
No, that I've gone back to that title now.
And then there's a third craziest, and then it's a trilogy.
The third one is Go Fuck Yourself.
The third one, Heather quits. But I said if I could have performed it, people might have understood. I mean, there's a lot of history as to why it came out 4 days before 9/11. But I said there's just, if I could have performed it, I think people would have understood. So I want to start with underground comedy. I went and I came out and I had a bunny head on. There was a full-on bunny head, and I said, I come on, maybe I can be an outrageous, I'm funnier than Ellen anyway. Let's do some outrageous shit.
And I said, you've used all your crazy chits.
That's right. She's like, take that off.
I think you're
no
good
bunny hats.
Yeah.
Let us begin. And now 2 years later, we're doing better together. So she's, part line.
But the answer to the question is is really that
I
when
forgot the
Anne,
question.
yeah, why do you pick the roles that you pick? And when she takes on a role, she takes on the role. Like she is that person. And maybe talk about that a little bit.
Well,
It's not like a I don't do. It's not a
The role
like
has
I
to
don't walk
speak to
around
you.
going. It's like, listen, I have an opportunity to be able to share what I believe we are about, which at the root of it is better together. I grew up in separation and mitigation of people, and I didn't like that. So taking some of the darker roles, I've been able to perhaps illuminate what it is, how we treat each other. You know, I care about people, that's all. And so I'm lucky I'm an actress.
And I really love what you said. And when you do look at your body of work, like you have a Lifetime movie there, we have Dancing with the Stars. There are projects that you have done because acting is your job, and if you are out of work, then you need to work. There's that aspect of it.
Yes, there
But
is.
critics, you look at all of critics' reviews from what have been considered bad films, from your best projects, you still are always lauded by the critics as a standout or save the piece. There's something very real about your performance that critics, whether it's stage work or whether it's, you know, a movie that was seen by two people, critics pay attention to your performance. What do you think sets you apart as an actress or a performance artist?
She's a good actor. That's what
Well,
sets her apart.
I mean,
really.
and I think I have an understanding more of what it is that appeals, that has been appealing and perhaps consistent about my performances, is that I had a childhood that doused every bit of my soul in the opposite of something good, and that didn't make sense to me. And when I have an opportunity, and I've had the opportunity to understand now that the reason why I think I'm appealing to people is that I get to bring in a perspective that very few have. Mostly, I've been through more shit than the character calls for. I always say you don't bring on a character. You can't throw all your talents into one thing. Like, oh, I'm playing Mary, and I tap dance, and I sing. Can you see me do this? But I ice skate. You know, you got to look into the container of the characters. And when I was the it girl, supposedly, you know, there were big, you know, big parts, and using Tommy Lee Jones, and I'm doing, oh my God, with terrorists. There is no. It's really funny. Those seem to be the ones that are the roles that you have to go for, and I had to go through this process and transition to really be able to state, no, every single role I take, I give.
Yeah.
That amount too, but what I give is a perspective that releases the judgment, and I think that's what has been consistently given. And just like you talked about in the beginning of this, what's the most difficult thing to do? Receive. And I think my non-judgment has allowed people to receive the essence of the women that I've been able to have the opportunity to play and embrace it.
I want to talk about your role as a co-star with leading men. We know that women's roles have changed dramatically, I think, over the last 5 years, because it's a hot topic. I don't know if it's just a popular topic for now, like BLM. You know, Hollywood grabs onto something, and then it's like, okay, then we're over that. But you've worked with a wide variety of names in the industry, like you mentioned. There's Robert De Niro, Dustin Hoffman, Harrison Ford, Johnny Depp, Vince Vaughn, Thomas Jane, Alec Baldwin. The list goes on and on. How was your experience as the female lead, treatment by your co-stars, and how has that changed over the years?
Oh, dude, can you imagine being with me on a set? I have such a fun rockin' blast. Are you kidding? I can tell you. I already said the story that sums this up is that I was doing a movie with Ed Harris, and Agnieszka Holland directed in Toronto. And he's playing a priest that's having a spiritual crisis. And my mother is somebody that they're trying to make a saint. And I, of course, don't think she's a saint. And we're in Toronto, and we're going to visit my mother's grave. And it's the first day, and it's like 30 below zero. It's fucking cold as shit. And but it's that in my first scene, and we're jumping up and down all the time. I go, Ed, come on, man. Just tell me, tell me the funnest person you've ever worked with. He looks at me. He says, I've never had fun. And now, by the end of the movie, of course.
Oh no, he threw down the challenge.
I'm like, oh shit! I've got my work cut out for me, and I do feel that way. Of course, first of all, I entertain myself by entertaining people, but. That is part of what I always said. I was really the symbols. I was really on the drum set between between Dustin and Bob, where I was cast to play the third male lead.
It was originally written.
It was written as a
male
man,
part. Yep.
and Barry Levinson asked me to do the reading, and I went in and I was like, I'm supposed to be Waitress True, right? He's like, no, but this one. Ames. And I was like, oh, that's the guy. And he's like, just read it word for word, would you? And Bob and Dustin walked in, and I'm sitting at a table, and I imagine the moment. But after he decided to do that, and we didn't change a word other than my first name, which was Winifred, because it was Fred Ames, and they added a winner. And when I would work with them on set, Bob and Dustin had two, it's so a miracle that I get to tell this. Bob, of course, when we know very famously, said, you talking to me, you talking to me, you talking to me. What I realized is that he repeats every single line until he thinks he has it right, which drove Dustin crazy. Dustin likes to go from beginning to end of the scene. It's meticulous, it's like Shakespeare, especially when you're doing Mammoth. Well, I realized that I could read when Bob was finished and when Dustin needed to start, and basically I was that between that allowed that music to happen, and the knowing that I had in the trust that I was given made me understand one of my gifts, that when you are working in a realm with other people, there are so many things going on that are making that person free, and that's my job, and I enjoy being that to other people so that they can be their best music. And I think that's also one of the reasons why people like my work.
I love that you said best music, almost like you're the conductor. You're kind of taken in.
We're all parts, of it, and that taught me a lot, that one.
All right, let's talk about your early years. Emmy Award win for soap opera Another World. I think we have an early picture as well. What did you learn from soap opera acting that you still use today?
Everything.
Yeah?
Learn your lines, show up on time, don't complain, be grateful, and get the fuck out.
Well, it's funny because you did it for
when
a
it's
few
time,
years.
it's time. I did it for 4 years. They were my college years. And I knew that I had to go.
And some actors have made it their lifelong career.
That was my fear.
Yeah.
Well, not my fear. It was just is that what I wanted? I mean,
You
is
were
that what
going
it's
to
gonna be?
architecture
And
school.
I was like, I got to get out of here. I'm not going to be an actress.
She was going to go to architecture school.
I applied to Parsons School of Design, and was getting in, and then got
and
an
then
offer.
she got the Emmy, and then
No,
got an offer.
I got an offer
for a
to
movie
go
of a
work.
book you were actually reading.
Right. I mean, but my life. Well, yes,
Randomly.
it was a Hallmark Hall of Fame movie with Jessica Lange, and I was like, oh no. I mean, I can't say really Jessica Lange. It was 2 weeks before I got off the soap, and it was when I was in Nebraska at Motel 6 eating a cheeseburger that I watched myself win an Emmy on the bed at the Motel 6, and I was like, does this mean I'm an actress? I guess so. And 4 days later, I drove to LA.
That must have been a surreal moment. How did you first find out that you were that you got a Tony nomination for 20th Century? Was it your agent who called, or did you listen to the nominations, or?
Oh hell no! Did I?
You
listen
do
to
know
the
you had a
nomination?
Tony nomination, right?
Did that happen?
Oh, yes, it did, girl.
I mean, it's so funny. The brilliance of that moment in my life. Again, Alec Baldwin saving my life. I've had heroes in my life. Harrison Ford being one of them. Alec Baldwin being another. Who said I will not do this show? He knew what I was going through, and he certainly knew I was blacklisted. But he said I'm not going to do this show, 20th Century, if Anne Heche doesn't do it. Putting me literally back on Broadway after doing Proof, in a screwball comedy where I got to piss not only myself, Alec, the entire cast, and an entire theater full of people till their pants and their eyes were draining tears of joy. It was a blast. I was on top of Alec's back. He was swinging me. We were, I mean, it was just the most absurd, fun, and also life-saving moment. So I think I probably came in. Alec and I would always have a cigarette on the fire escape before we went in, and I think I remember running down the street because I would always run to the stage. And somebody goes, congratulations, or something. I think I came in the stage door, and Alex, on the staircase, like, well, it was about time you showed up. Where are my smokes? And I go, you didn't get nominated, did you? Fuck you. Ha ha. You gave me the job. I got the nomination. Are you kidding me? You're like, what are we going to do tonight? Should I slide off your back? Because he was so sweaty. It was so funny. I was like, I think they dissed you for being sweaty or something. Can you believe how absurd this whole thing is, that master of ceremonies, which he was for my life at that moment. And they're like, oh, you don't get a nomination on your own. And this is the same thing that we say about Better Together. Putting somebody in a spotlight of something that does not include the others around them that are the equal responsible party is So ridiculous, and of course Alec knows that, and I know that, so we had to smoke, and I think made fun of him the rest of the night. I think every time I came off stage, I'd be like, "You didn't get nominated."
So, meanwhile, he's like,
Yeah. He's like, "Bend over, bitch. I got you this job."
okay,
No,
easy there, Tiger.
Never. Alec never asked me out on a date. Asshole. I think I should call him.
It was probably at a matter of respect, too.
Oh, no.
He was probably
Alec and I
terrified.
Yeah, he'd probably be like scared of the
Honey, I wasn't young enough or cute enough. Let's just be
Oh,
honest.
shut up.
So let's talk about your other Broadway play, As Proof.
That was my first one.
And it's a very, very heavy piece. And if you haven't read the script, you need to read the script. Read the script. Was that the first kind of big project that you had after your very public?
Well, we knew I was tanking, and that was there were Jennifer Jason Leigh was in the fourth string of Proof, which is a 4-character play that people know more about because Gwyneth Paltrow did the movie.
Yeah.
But it had been running, and Jennifer Jason Leigh out of 960 seats, it was down to 320, and then they called me. Like it was really like, bring it. That's Neil Patrick Harris, by the way.
Yeah.
Before he came out.
Oh my God,
he came out
12.
So that was 3 months to the day after I gave birth to my first son, Homer. And
3 months?
3 months to the day.
Jesus.
I stripped it down. She's
Freak
a
of
mathematician.
nature.
She was supposed to be 25 years old and a hermit. And one of the things that was amazing about the play is that it's about a genius girl who is being accused of stealing her father's like math equation, okay, and he's basically vilified for it and called crazy and everything else. And by the end, of course, you find out that she's not. Well, I, of course, read that play. I was like, yeah, oh, I know how other people are playing it. They're playing it like she's crazy. The fact of the matter is, I know this story. She's being called crazy and she's not, which means she's in the seat that nobody else gets to be in, looking at them, again, perspective, going, it's hilarious when people are calling you crazy and you're the most sane person. If I said if everybody would have done what I said, I would have called my book Call Me Sane. Duh, if I would have known that you would have done what I told you to. Lord.
You're a dash crazy, though. Just a dash.
Even crazier.
Aren't we all, though?
But,
yes.
Or shouldn't we all be?
It depends on what you call crazy, and then I think that's one of our issues. We don't define what words mean to us. But that changed. But that went from 320. I'd never done Broadway before. And I was like, what's happening? Why are there 320 seats? And they're like, well, because it's summer and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, let's sell this shit out. Like, what's going on? And they're like, sell out? And you've never done it? Like, what? I'm like, it's a comedy. Doesn't anybody understand this is a comedy? She is not crazy. And that's where Ben Brantley said she changed the show. And we started selling out. And it became the longest running drama of at that time.
And you did the show for quite
8 months.
8 months.
Wow.
Homer but 3 months old there, and he lived with me in New York for 8 months.
So, but the show deals with family issues, which we know from your memoir. There's a story there. It also deals with
More
mental.
vodka.
Yes, please.
By the way, the show is called On the Rocks.
Girl, because the rocks make noise.
I know.
I mean, but he's not even like. It's
But,
so
like, I'm
cheap.
just saying, it's like...
We call people out on this shit.
I'll send some champagne ice cubes to your house. But doing the show for month after month, and then
8 months, 8 days a week.
right.
8 shows a week.
So, how did you keep that whole? It's like I said, there's so much there, and it's a very heavy play. How did you keep your sanity during all of that and not be consumed by this play, especially with the great reviews? Like you said, people were flocking to it, but it's delving into some pretty personal subjects. How did you keep yourself separate from that Proof experience?
Well, that's exactly what I'm telling you. I knew that she wasn't crazy, so the topics weren't deep for me. I could make the audience rise. You can go into this theater. One of the things, it was incredible at that time in my life to learn, stepping on stage, like, whoa, I can feel the energy of whatever room this is and know actually how to guide it. Do they want a little bit more drama? You can just feel it. And I was working with one of the greatest actors of all time on Broadway, Len Cariou, who played my dad. And
In the original cast of Sweeney Todd, by the way.
yes, he was.
Yep.
He was. So when they gave me my own, my own cast, Kay Jennings Grant played my sister, Neil Patrick Harris my boyfriend, and when I started to realize, and I said, director Dan, I'm like, you're not telling me anything. I don't understand. Like, I think this is funny. You don't think this is funny? This is a fucking funny show. I mean, she's not crazy, right? Am I getting something wrong? He's like, just keep doing what you're doing. Never told me a no until I stepped out on stage and realized that I was stepping right exactly into everything that he didn't change a light or a table or anything else. I had stepped right onto it. And he's going, here you go. Ben Bradley's in the audience. How about you get yourself a good review? Go.
And it happened. One of my favorite projects of yours was the shot-for-shot remake of Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, directed by Gus Van Sant. When it came out, I was there. This was before they had like the midnight previews the night before. It was like the first showing like at 10:30 or 11 a.m. And I think I was in college at the time, and I was there first.
Shot for shot.
Shot for shot. I was there at the first seating. I had my popcorn ready. I stayed at the theater and watched it 2 other times that same day.
Wow.
Because
it's one of the most beautiful pieces of art ever.
It was so masterfully done. Number one, the original Psycho, obviously, is a masterpiece, but the shot for shot had so many other themes happening. And again, the critics just went crazy about your portrayal of Marion.
Oh, did they? I never read one. That's fun.
I got to see that movie.
Me too.
You know what? But watch the original first, and then right after watch the second, because you're going to see some of the subtlety that was brought in. But making Marion your total own. And Marion's an interesting character because she's a strong woman who, she just like, F the man, F law, whatever. But then she does it for a man. So there's this like duality going on.
I tried to make her gay. Gus and I went to the head of Universal and sat down. I said, I get you're doing shot for shot. What if but can we? The idea was to change the interior of the character, not the exterior of the shot, to fit in. I moved my feet literally. I would step with the same foot that she did, and do you change the interior? So Gus and I was like, what if she just, what if she's in that scene? It's all the fucking same, but it's a woman. Well, that did not go well. I think they wanted to fire me then, and Gus and I are sitting there like, not okay. Bye. No. Although Julianne Moore brought in, I think that was some of the sexuality that she then brought into where her exterior is one thing and doing shot for shot, but that was as much as we could push in that sexuality, that push that I always wanted to do, and I always do try to push further. But that was a fun one because it was Gus's college. He wanted, after he did Good Will Hunting, he was able to do this, but he pitched doing a remake of Psycho. That's what he wanted to do before Good Will Hunting. They all shut the doors.
Well, yeah.
And then after Good Will Hunting, what he wanted to do
whatever
was
he wants.
the same thing I wanted to do before.
Jesus Christ Superstar.
And he did by the way, did you see that live on NBC?
Yes, I did.
Was that not incredible?
I fought it because I don't like mainstream redos of, especially like Jesus
Christ
Superstar.
What are you talking about? That was insane.
I came to love it, and I came
thank you.
to
Hello,
love it.
How about the costumes?
But it was so interesting revisiting Psycho as a movie because we knew about Anthony Perkins, who had played Norman Bates. We know about Gus Van Sant being an openly gay director. Mm-hmm. You were going through your exposure in the media as to who you were dating. So there's all these underlying themes of sexuality happening in Psycho, which made the shot for shot so much more. It was visceral. It was passionate. It was so colorful to me. It's one of the most intoxicating films, and if you haven't seen it, you have to watch it. It's very.
We haven't seen
it. Heather.
Well, have you seen it?
Don't call me out on my own words.
Watch it. Make a drinking game out of it, but watch it. But I want to know what it was like filming the infamous shower scene. We know the original, Alfred Hitchcock never actually showed a knife penetrating the skin. We know how he surprised Janet Leigh on set. Filming such an iconic scene, and iconic is thrown about, but this is truly an iconic scene.
I even know that, and I didn't see either movie.
There you go.
You're supposed to be the smart one. Be quiet.
Okay.
What was the day on set like? Were you nervous? Were you like, we're just going to do it? There's just making the character your own, but there's also paying homage to and being restricted by the shot for shot.
Listen, this is not like some kind of wing it moment. The whole part of being a part of this art project was like the service to it was. I mean, you have to understand part of my naivete. Like I don't know the hoopla behind things that it's too stupid to go into, but my pop culture references were like lame at best. So I didn't know. I was coming into the adventure. The most difficult and of course I embraced all of it and I understood all of it, and I had heard of Hitchcock, like he's a guy who did movies.
But wait, I have a question. Did you because you don't like to see things first, like in Dancing with the Stars.
I met Gus before I watched the original Psycho.
That was
I met
my
him
question.
first.
You did watch it,
I met him first.
but you watched the original.
And then I watched the
Okay,
original.
that's-
But
okay.
I didn't want. But I have this thing. Like I
She
don't
doesn't
know.
like to
I
watch
don't-
things. She wouldn't watch any of the Dancing with the Stars. Like let's watch the Paso Doble and see how other people do it. She's
No.
like, no, I'm doing it my. I'm like, dude,
Well, it's not I'm doing
you
it
gotta
my way.
watch this.
Interesting.
No. It's not that I'm doing it my way. It would
Well.
be the same that I'm doing, 20th century. I'm not.
I got her to
I'm-
watch the worst ones. That's how I got her to watch it. Like watch the epic fails. And then
Yeah,
she
that
watched
was fun.
Yeah.
That's always fun.
But I don't. It's not a. I'm doing it my way. It's how can I possibly be doing something truthful or unique or interesting? My whole life is about absorbing, understanding, taking in. So when you give me a direction or when I see something, I don't want to be something that somebody else has been, and it's not
Right.
because I'm not. Carol Lombard played 20th Century. Did I go and watch 20th Century? No, I did not. Why didn't I? Because it's not. That's not how I honor her. Or anything else. The respect is out of how do I take this and become something that is honoring because I am unique in it and how I'm doing it. It's not a I do it better. That's my best way of honoring other artists.
You know what the eerie thing about that is? Also, when you took over for Proof, and we're talking about Psycho, 20th Century.
Yes, I didn't see Proof either. I didn't watch anybody do it.
But the fact that you studied the character so well, you honoring the character, you actually did honor the original who played it because it has the energy that the character comes from, which just shows eerily how you all encompassed what the character
But I
really
think
is,
that
which
you
goes to
can't.
your homework.
You can't find that character by looking
From
at somebody
somebody
else
else.
do it. You have
Because
to
it's
find
just
it
a
within yourself.
mimic.
That's why it's so authentic, and that's why she's so good
And
at
bringing
what
this
she
new
does.
energy to it. Marion Crane in Psycho, my heart started beating, it just had this passion that was not in the first.
Well, I think whenever we become this word bugs the shit out of me, inauthentic, which is an overused word, and but it's
But a lot of people are inauthentic.
Yeah.
or
Full of shit is an easier way to say it.
Foss.
what it means to me.
Fussy.
What it means to me in the art of acting is a laziness that says I'm going to depend on something that works for somebody else.
Right.
And I'm going to take that on as mine, and it's not yours. It's there in the conscious thought of the universe, but yours in the honoring to me is to begin at that zero where they began and then build from there in order to reflect it back and add to it as our time has evolved and everything else. It's a cheat, and I see this a lot in actors. I see it a lot in artists. I see it a lot in human beings, where we're taking on a facade of, isn't this what I'm supposed to say? Isn't this how I'm supposed to look? Isn't this what I think my life has been much about reflecting what it is to strip down and be in true thinking, honesty, authenticity. But to do that as an artist is very difficult because people pound you with what it is that you are supposed to look like, be, blah, 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 blah. And now we've got this conglomeration of supposed artists, actors, actors who are pretending to be an idea of Johnny Depp, Harrison Ford, the things that they pick and choose. You're like, who are you? And often mine is to dig that out of somebody, but that's not the way that I work.
I think a lot of that has to do as well as we have so much content out there.
Right.
There's too many.
There's
good
no such
things
thing
out
as
there.
actors. It's like
Let's fill because we need this type
the
of role to fill in, do
influencer,
your
the-
lines, whatever. Like Hallmark Christmas movies, we all laugh, but they all have that same type.
By the way, I did the #1 Hallmark Christmas movie ever was.
I know. But I think that we're just and the way TV shows are shot. We had Joanna Cassidy, who is a veteran, an amazing actress, and she hates to do TV now because her guest spots on sitcoms or whatever, it's like shoot. There's no rehearsal. There's not the same kind of attention that's put. So they need to just fill actors that will just fill that type rather than
Well, they
actually
call us
thinking
all that.
about
I mean, my God, I'm called a marionette all the time. I'm like, put me on a conveyor belt, like makeup, hair, put on my costume, and then spit me out, and then I say lines, and then I start all over again. But there is and part of this Zoom thing that we were talking about earlier. What we're doing is stripping away the romanticism of the beginning question, which is why are we doing this together, and what is our intent in doing it? Because everybody's trying to save money and do the thing, and now it's coded.
Yeah.
The separation is distinguishing the art right now, which I'm saying it doesn't collect our consciousness to say what is it that we're trying to do in the first place. They never asked actresses that, by the way, because they think we're so stupid.
Well, and this was what I was pointing out earlier. The female lead has definitely changed from Volcano. You know, actresses in those kind of movies in the 90s were about reactionary to the main character.
I love
And
that movie
think
because they
that's
made me
really
sound smart. Because I had to say a word like tectonic plates, and I was like, "What the fuck? What is that?" But if I say it, it really sounds smart. So tectonic plates.
What's a
Like,
tectonic plate?
It's
You
the
don't
thing
know,
that moves
do
under
you?
the earth. Yes,
Oh,
I
you do?
absolutely do. Oh, you don't think I know? I tell you what happens in a volcano. But I will tell you something about a leading lady.
Yeah.
Because when I was in Proof, I was able to join Birth, a movie that I was supposedly not allowed to audition for, and you're gonna laugh at me right now. I don't know which character. I don't know which actress I'm talking about.
Scared.
Who was in Birth? Nicole Kidman. Okay.
What is
so,
Birth? That's a movie?
Exactly. Don't you know what? Maybe you should be quiet after 2 drinks.
I haven't finished the second.
Okay, so when I was doing Proof in coming out onto stage and turning this play upside down, I mean, making people laugh in this total drama yuckness that they had been like watching people suffer through. No wonder they weren't selling any seats. But I was able to do this role in this movie that Nicole was doing, and I saw her on set, and I had a moment of. 2 things happened. One, Jonathan Glazer, the director, I went up to him and I said, you know, I'm not really like sure where this like woman, we're standing on the street in Europe, like where this girl, like what, where she comes from. He's like, let me tell you something. I don't care about your backstory. Do your job. And I was like, oh shit. God. Now there's a hop too. Okay, no problem. No. And then it was very interesting.
But I bet you had a whole backstory.
I mean, it was. It was incredible. It was like, why am I bothering people with what I think? Go do what you do. Then the next thing happened. I saw Nicole on set, and there was all of an understanding of the difference between an actress who tells the truth, who is committed, and an actress who is a leading lady. And I saw this involvement of myself to say, I'm being lazy in not acknowledging the opportunity. I'm thinking I'm so lady. Oh my God, I'm doing this. I'm denying her to see. She is taking on something even bigger than I am with my perspective or pool of consciousness that I try to tap into or entertainment. She's actually acknowledging that she knows what it is that she's doing and how many people she's reaching, and that is embraced in who she is, even how far she dives into her character. And that became a moment where I said, if I'm going to be a leading lady, I got to take something else on in my life. And that was an insecurity that I had to overcome that took me 20 years.
That is a story.
She's got a lot of them.
Yeah, but that's a moment that we get to see behind the actress that nails every single part, and this is what's going on in the psyche. Okay, Anne, I have to ask it.
Please do.
We have to talk about sexuality in the LGBTQ community, or my gays will kill me.
Okay.
The LGBTQ community lately has enjoyed this increase in visibility in entertainment. A number of actors have been celebrated as they come out as trans, gay, non-binary, bisexual, all to applause and support. That is the now. I feel it's very odd how we embrace and support somebody coming out now. They're still getting high-profile roles and welcomed by the LGBTQ community. Flashback to 2 decades ago, Hollywood was a much different place. You mentioned the name Anne Heche. One of the topics that always comes up is involvement with the LGBTQ community. I want to know how you look back at that time of your life and how you see how actors are celebrated now for them exploring their sexuality, for them putting out their sexuality, and for them being applauded and respected for it. When you had your very public relationship, I didn't feel it was that kind of support by mainstream Hollywood, the way that actors are getting now.
Like, I mean, I'm sorry to say, like, duh.
Well, right.
But I'm going to let you go because I want to say one thing that my experience and my journey through understanding through activism and my is the badge of honor I wear in fighting and representing for me what an equal right is, and that is to love you want to love and have the right. That is, and that will never change. The thing that put a pin and a nail into the coffin of anything that would go first before my service to figuring that out and being a voice that is in the conscious thinking of what it means to live in equality and how we show that to others. That's been my study since that moment. But Heather has a unique perspective. You said she has an understanding.
I become a bulldog on this topic.
Yeah.
I
want to hear this.
angry.
And I play devil's advocate because I want to have this kind of
No, it's good.
Yes,
It's good.
conversation.
And we
great to have
are
it.
just a little plug for our show. We are going to have a sit down where I'm going to do a full Barbara Walters with Anne and talk about
Barbara Walters
all
says
of
that
this
your interview
stuff.
was like the craziest
Yeah,
interview she's
I
ever
bet,
had.
and we'll talk
Best
about that.
interview, excuse me, not
Yes,
the craziest.
we'll talk about that. But
There's a difference.
Yes.
But really, when you say that now people come out openly and have no and it's accepted, and why shouldn't it be? It's because of people like Anne who did the hard
That's
work.
exactly right.
And that's the thing. And for Anne, she was for people who don't know, she was literally told not to bring Ellen to the premiere of Volcano.
Right.
And she did it. And if you know a little bit about Anne's history, you know that it makes a lot of sense why she did it, because she grew up in a family where her father was not open about his sexuality, and there was a lot of consequences for that. Her dad died of AIDS, and the day after he died, it was declared the gay disease, so he was outed basically, and the whole family was, and they were a very religious family that were ostracized now because their patriarch.
Same difference if you're gay.
Right. Patriarch was, a gay man. And so that changed the course of her life. So it only makes sense that when she met Ellen, and Ellen was so open with her sexuality, that was appealing to
Well,
Anne.
it was the brightest. It was actually the thing that I felt would be the logic of love in a vision. Like, the logic of love says I stand up for something that nobody else is, no matter what the cost. And the other thing that people don't know, and so that to me was like,
So there was no
what
way
could
you
be
were
better?
not going to take her. There was no way that she was going to
you
hide
could say that to me.
Right.
But what people don't know about that too is that I had only met Ellen 4 days before the Volcano premiere. This was not like I was not holding. Like, this was not a torch that said I've been hiding this relationship. I'm fighting for the. It's like, no, I saw it. And then the fact that I was told you can't do that. After she had come out on Tuesday night, this is the week, the timeline of it is so amazing. Sunday night, Vanity Fair. Tuesday night, Ellen comes out. Tuesday morning, I meet Harrison Ford. Wednesday is press junket. Thursday night is Volcano. Like, that's how condensed. Yep. Friday, we both lose our jobs. Now, and why I feel that the timeline is important is because when we are seeking something that is definitive of our life and in our life questioning, and we see it in another, that can mean two things, which it did with Ellen. One, wow, I've never seen anything like that. It's the most bright and beaming light I've ever seen in my life. Yes, I will join it. And by the way, if you ask me not to, screw you. You obviously don't know who I am if you ever paid attention, because I would never do that. The other is, oh my God, that was one thing to see, and perhaps I didn't catch it all. And that took 3.5 years to understand and unravel, because sometimes the blinding light of the thing that you are interpreting as everything that you could ever want has some other aspects to it.
But I think another important thing about Anne's time back in the 90s is back then we didn't have the language that we have now. You were either gay or you were straight. So they didn't understand, and she kept saying, like, I just fell in love with a woman.
And that's so important, and I think that's the biggest difference. Today we let people explore. This is how you identify today. I support you. You identify as that tomorrow. I support you.
Because she caught so much shit when she was
with
with a man afterwards. They're like, you weren't very gay then, you know?
And here's the flip side I want to talk about. We talk about the LGBTQ community wanting to be inclusive, but I know there are many times, and I take responsibility as well, that we are not inclusive. We do not do what we preach, talking about actors wanting to tell our stories, and we become so guarded, or we use the wrong pronouns and we become so angry that we shut off that conversation that we were talking about earlier, how you build bridges, right? And so when you had another relationship after who you were dating in the big public eye, then the LGBT community kind of was like, oh,
Turned on her.
You're not
No,
us.
the
And I want to hear about that. Okay, 'cause I want to hear about it.
I mean, there was no acceptance anywhere. Strays, which is really what everybody is. Strays, gays.
Yeah.
Strays, gays, and strays. Well, like, what the fuck? Who is she? 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 It didn't help that on the March on Washington, I stood in front of a million people, literally standing up for the right to have been born the way that they were, and me say, you have a choice. Now, I have to say that was a little bit, yes, you should have thrown tomatoes. However, I did not have the same message that Ellen had, and there was not time to actually unravel what that.
We didn't have the language back then. We didn't have the language nor the acceptance.
And if you talk to Oprah about it,
but you did it anyways. I mean, you went balls out.
And it wasn't a cool subject to talk about.
Well,
no, I say that it's very interesting. I would love to dig up like People magazine covers of Anne back then. And then now it's like, how do they decorate their home? You know, this couple is getting married and their baby pictures and their home. And like, it's just so different. And again, I know I've said it before, I'll say it a million times. It's different because people like Anne did the hard work and did the scary work and took the stand when it wasn't easy. And that's the only way to affect change is when you do that. And, you know.
So I'm starting a new movement with all the different letters that I don't understand because I became a part of a movement that was labeled. I was then labeled for not being within the labels. I was relabeled.
Right. Yeah.
I was given a label that. I mean, come on, label A, B, C, D.
I mean, I always say you're the most famous lesbian who's not a lesbian,
right?
Because she,
right.
you know,
and in today's age, you don't have to define that.
Well, but what I would like to do is put this whole bunch of we look at the divide, and nobody can keep it straight. Why are we defending ourselves for being B or Q? My name has always been mispronounced, and it only took me until this year to understand. He, she is exactly what I would like to be. He, she. I'm Anne. He, she. We are he. We are she. We are both in anything that we want to be. And to separate ourselves out is giving us a non-divinity that we deserve.
Boom. Clip it, send it. There we go. Heather, I want to know, is there a question about Anne's career that you've always wanted to ask her, but you just never have? Like a movie you saw or like just about a role?
No, but I had a thought earlier. I ask her anything that comes to my head, but I didn't this time because you were talking. I'm curious, and I don't know if I've ever asked you this. You can answer it two ways. What was
I'll answer it how I like things.
Okay, whatever, bro. What is your favorite thing that you worked on? Your favorite film or project?
That's what. Yeah,
or what is your most fun? Or maybe they're both. Like if you could pick one thing that you're like, that was. I've had the time of my life.
I'm going to go back to this, and he's going to really piss Heather off. When I'm asked a question, I think one of the things that divides us is that we don't understand what we agree the definition of words are. So I call it the little books. When I write the little books, I have a little dictionary of words why we don't understand why we're communicating is because you just asked me that question. Now, I can guess what you think is fun.
I have no idea.
Wait, here's the thing. But I'm using this as an example and why I get so specific when I write my books and I put down the words. Why I do.
I mean, I think the answer is better together, but.
Well, duh.
Well, we know that.
Duh. But where I think a gap happens is that what happens when you jump into conversation is that I assume what you think is fun. When you say, what's the funnest thing I've ever done, right? But this is just normal conversation.
That would be who was on the project. Like, where
again,
were you?
Look, all of a sudden, that wouldn't have been what I thought. Now, if we don't say what's fun, and we don't say, I'm asking you the fun, meaning who was your favorite, well, you know, that's why it gets really annoying to like me, because but this is how I try to break it down. I can't answer for you what was the most fun, because I don't know what you think fun is.
Dude, you know what I think fun is.
See what I mean? I don't want to, you know.
And this is the reality of friendship. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Better Together podcast when we come back.
The Vanished?
All right, and we're back. Kurt, can you play a little trailer of Better Together?
We have a... Oh my God, our first together. Hey
there, this is Anne Heche. I'm so excited to announce our podcast, Better Together with Anne and Heather.
Every week, we're going to have fabulous guests come on with the person that makes them better in life.
We believe that in sharing stories, we create community. Self-knowledge is one thing. Adding others' knowledge is everything. I want to find out what we don't know. We want to talk to people and learn from their mistakes. Just kidding. You're my Better Together.
You're my mistake.
That's what I thought.
We're better together with Anne and Heather.
You can find Better Together with Anne and Heather on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you tune in from.
New episodes drop every Thursday. See you soon.
Better Together.
I mean, Thursday is the best day for podcasters because your show comes out, On the Rocks comes out. I mean, it's
Thursday.
Like,
you could just do that. You could do the bar hop of both of ours.
Do you like our jingle?
I do, because I sing it. Better together.
Anne wrote it, and Ryan's girlfriend Mag sings it.
They're getting married. I'm okay with it. Because Ryan's cute.
Well, but you dated every single person I've ever worked with, apparently.
I love saying that. I was like, and my ex. And like, oh. You have a few episodes of Better Together in the can.
We do.
And it really does celebrate friendships in all different types of stories. I want to know what story sticks out to each of you that you heard. You're like, wow, that's a great friendship story. What's one of the top stories so far
that we've had on the show?
Yeah.
I think we need to clarify. Sorry, again, my definition. It's not necessarily about the best friend that you bring on. What it is about a person who makes you better. There is no way that I would be where I am, who I am in my life without Heather, and that is so often lost because people put either the person in the spotlight in that position. But where this concept came from us was about there's no friggin' way I would be who I am without you. And so we have that. It's not you are my best friend, but you're on our show, you bring on a betterer, someone, and with the concept of you are making us better by sharing who you are.
My idea was to bring on your best friend.
I know, and I thought it was boring.
Well, but that's interesting.
But I think that
I didn't. In fact, that's not true.
You get to know people better by bringing on their best friend because you let your guard down. You see their real side.
But there are some people in our lives that challenge us. That are not necessarily our best friend, but they call us on our shit, or
which is
people
kind
that
of
make
a
you
different
better.
thought. The people who make you better. Whether it's whatever that means to people, we don't try to put them in a box for it, but it has turned out to be something that does make an interview interesting.
The one thing about the show that I will say about the format and bringing on your betterer is that we get to know people, and this is what we wanted from the show, is we wanted to like see a different side to people.
Right.
We had our friend Derek Warburton on, you should have him on. He's fabulous. Actually, his nickname is Derek Fabulous. And he opened up in a way that like he's somebody, he's a new friend in the last year that we've gotten to be super close with, but the way that he opened up and really told us about his life, we just had so much more respect and love for him when it was over, and saw him, so much more honestly and open. It was just kind of beautiful. And I think we like to get to the heart and soul.
Yeah,
and that's the thing about podcasting. Podcasting is up almost 300% in the industry during COVID.
Well, because what else can you do?
Well, right, and people want to hear real stories, and podcasting is different. We all kind of relax. When we hear Anne Heche is starting a new podcast called Better Together, we think, okay, this actress is going to be about acting and masterclass and all that. And we get to hear both of you.
Masterclass? You should do a masterclass.
No, I want to do stupid acting classes, and I want to have them be on TikTok, and I want them to be 59 seconds only, where I'm going to give really stupid acting classes.
Oh gosh,
thank you.
It's gonna be a whole
I've never had an acting class, so.
But the fact is we listen to a few seconds of Better Together, and it's like a happy hour, or it's like inviting somebody into your living room.
We're having a happy hour, I can promise you.
With you.
Yeah, but it's so like kick off your shoes and let's talk about life. Whatever we decide to talk about, it doesn't put on airs, but it's a well-structured show. What have you learned? What have been your biggest obstacles as being podcasters?
Technology.
Yeah.
We're brand new. Well, I mean, we really are brand new because we launched right after I got kicked off Dancing with the Stars. Thank God, in a way, that was a blessing to us. But I wanted to ask you this because today I think we kind of had a milestone. We go milestone. My God, we've only done 6 episodes, but there was a moment.
6 episodes?
Haven't we?
I have no idea.
Well, it hasn't
5
been,
episodes, and then
5
there's the intro. I stalked you guys very much.
That was
Please
us.
do all the
So
time.
after she
But
got the boot
today-
from Dancing with the Stars, we went to the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Yes,
and we were trying to just justify our weekend there. So we did our
we did our intro. But today because I wanted to ask you this because it is an interesting day. First of all, we're here together with you, and talking about our podcast. We've been talking about doing this for 2 years, and so that's a special thing to do. So I thank you for having us to be able to share and say that on a day that I think marked something unique for us, where we went. And I'm going to ask you this question: was there a day when you go like, we're
this
real?
is a real thing?
Yeah. But like, this is a real thing. And today
we had that.
And why?
Because we interviewed Carol and her better Howard
Baskin.
Wait,
today.
Harold was there?
Yes.
He's still alive?
He is alive and well and
wonderful.
super
You guys,
awesome.
I swear that Carol has a string on him and he just kind of does this.
But
every now
that's
and
what
then.
I'm saying.
What?
But that-
Watch our show. Like, you got to
That's
kind
what
of
we wanna
find
do.
the video
Knock
of it.
down-
Okay,
break
so
that
let's
shit
talk about
down.
it. Dancing with the Stars, Carol Baskins was cast, and people were like, Carol Baskins, a celebrity? Of course, we know from Tiger King. What was your relationship like during filming of Dancing with the Stars, and how was she on the podcast?
She was... You have to listen. I'm going to do
Okay.
that to you.
Okay.
You have to listen, because I can tell you this. She's nothing, and neither is he, like they were portrayed.
And that's part of what we want to do on Better Together. And not only that, the beauty of what I feel the art of podcast is. You said I do a lot of, but it's not that I just dance around. The mediums that I have the opportunity to be able to work in are challenges to me, to be able to find it out and always learning. And why I want to get back to this, because I do think today that Heather and I both were like, wait, we're interviewing Carol Baskin. Okay, that means all of a sudden we're legit. And I wanted to ask you if there was a moment or an interview when you started your podcast.
Okay, so
Yeah, where you were like...
wait, this might be for real.
And this is a great question, by the way. I started podcasting about 6 years ago.
Oh,
and
Jesus.
I was one of the youngest vice presidents in the entertainment division at City National Bank.
Is it going to take us 6 years to get a little sitch like
I was
this?
but I was a banker for a number of years, and so podcasting was my hobby.
Wow.
I got to meet celebrities: Shirley Jones, Lainey Kazan, and so it took over my life. And podcasting became more important than a 6-figure salary. So I took that leap. It took about a year.
That's funny. You and Howard Baskin, by the way, have a similar story, so you better listen to our podcast.
I already have it subscribed on my phone.
Yeah, it comes out on Christmas Eve.
Okay.
I don't know if we're...
I interrupted.
I'll be there. So taking that leap to be like, okay, podcasting is going to be it.
Yeah.
A year was like, oh my God, how am I going to make money? And then there was that moment. It's like, yes, you are having a conversation with Shirley Jones, who I grew up with, and she's telling me what a great experience she's having
Mrs.
talking
Partridge,
about.
right?
Girl, she's MGM original. She was in Oklahoma, the musical. Carousel,
Oklahoma, where the wind comes shining through the plain. Oklahoma, where the wind sails.
But it's also Mrs. Partridge, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And also,
through the plain, and we can say.
we're gonna do
I'll
Oklahoma
keep going.
with Anne Heche. But there was that moment that you're like, wow, this is an accomplishment, and it's hard. People think podcasting is plug in a microphone and, hi, I'm going to talk about my recipe today.
That's right. All of a sudden, you realize how boring you actually are.
And that could
and
happen.
did you have to get over hearing your voice? Because that's really hard for me.
My voice is still the most annoying voice.
Same.
In
Mine
fact,
is. It's not, but mine
when
is.
I post,
Mine's the most annoying.
No, it is not. And when I post a podcast, I will always get those social media haters that be like, "Oh my God, his voice." I'm like,
people say they can hear me 2 miles before I arrive on the set because I'm
Good.
singing in my car.
good.
Welcome. But so it was Shirley Jones.
It was Shirley
It was
Jones.
Shirley Jones.
Having
Ours
this-
will forever be Carol Baskin. Yeah.
Yes.
But there is that moment, and
where you're like,
where all the
uh-oh.
hard work and you kind of
Yes.
relax, and then the way you host changes. It's like from going like, I need to be so careful about everything, to you just kind of relax into it and be like, we're having a conversation. And that's
No,
what I
mean
love
we
about-
barely cursed today in with Carol. We were on our best behavior. We actually were both wearing blazers, and then we looked and we're like, should we wear? No, like no, this is ridiculous.
No, we said we're blazer women. By the way, I had that on, and we said we're blazer women, and then
I put it on. I had this red Gucci blazer on, and then I'm like, no, I look ridiculous. And then we took it off.
No, shit.
It's fine.
Pull that up.
That means I've had too much. I can't pull it.
All right.
It's totally fine. This is On the Rocks. This is where we have a good time. Plus, I need... Okay, so we're going to do a little thing called the Best Friend Quiz. And I want you ladies to point who the culprit is. So I could say something like, who's taller, or whatever, and you're going to point to...
the one or the other.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hang on. Okay.
All right.
Jesus. Okay.
Are you on Bumble? What do you want, Heather?
I have to text.
What is she doing?
Yeah. Who are you
Heather,
texting?
are you fucking kidding me? She's doing, but she's getting a text in the middle of the... Really? Are we boring you?
Are you single, Heather? No.
Oh, go there.
This is a whole...
Go there.
This is a whole
Go
thing.
there.
Don't go there.
Okay.
Thank you,
we're
Alexander.
going to go there. But that probably was a booty
I'm
call.
fixing my hair.
It wasn't a booty call. It was a dinner order.
For her son. I can guarantee
okay.
you it's for Henry.
That's sweet.
Am I right?
Fix your hair.
I'm trying to just...
Look in the mirror and fix your hair.
Okay, so I want you ladies to point to who the culprit is. So if I were
good.
to say, like, who's taller, you point. Okay.
Was
Okay.
that a
Ready?
bad thing? Yeah.
Yes.
Worst driver. Can't agree. Worst gift giver.
Oh, neither one. We're tied
We're
on good
gift
gifts.
givers.
Yeah.
Well, it's Christmas coming up, but I haven't bought you anything yet.
No. I have a rolling gift program because I can't remember anybody's birthday or holidays. But when I
either.
see a gift, I give it. When I don't, I don't. So you're not getting
We're both.
anything.
You know, my thing, when you're such a good friend with somebody, you don't need to give a Christmas
Well,
gift.
I don't give a
'cause-
fuck. I don't want to be told when to give somebody anything.
Yeah. Better
But
cook.
we're both
Oh, she.
Only because I cook more often.
a little more family friendly,
knows.
a little bit more experimental.
Shorter temper.
Do I? Okay.
And you're supposed to be
I'll
pointing.
take it.
Who says sorry first?
But either or both. We don't even apologize. We don't fight. I don't even think we either ever want to apologize.
So,
But I would.
You
I'm
guys-
easy.
I
I
would
don't
too.
mind a
Like I have no
sorry.
problem taking
I
responsibility.
I'll sorry all the time just to get me out of something.
Just,
But-
well, 100% sorry.
Whether I
up
mean
front.
it or not, but I will sorry the shit
it's
out of anything.
impossible for you guys not to have fought about something. Whether it's like...
Never.
Oh,
never
no,
fight.
we fight about
Oh,
like
wow.
you'll do something like on social media.
No. I put something up on Instagram that showed my pussy, and I didn't.
Kurt,
you
pull
know,
it up. No, just
excuse me.
kidding.
And
No, I reported it to Instagram.
she reported it on. That I was mad.
She was mad, but
Maybe the
she-
right decision, but I
She,
was mad.
but in my defense, you should have answered my fucking calls.
Yeah, but I was too busy pontificating. over my
Okay. Who says sorry first?
Well, either. What do you mean? We'll both say sorry. We don't do that. Sorry. Like
Watches
no,
the
sorry.
worst TV.
Oh, Heather, for sure. I don't even watch TV.
Better singer.
Me.
Can you sing us a little?
Better together with Anne and Heather.
I do love that. It's good. It's
By the
so
way, I wrote
infectious,
it, so
by
it
the
should
way.
be good.
Better together.
With Anne.
Oh, can you sing
With
that?
Alexander and Heather.
Do it one more time.
Better together with Alexander and Heather.
Now we got some reverb. Yes.
You want to sing it with me? Come on, Mr. Musical.
Okay.
Better
Better
together.
together.
That's not harmony. And by the way, neither one of them can sing.
I can't sing.
Ready? Better together.
Better together with Anne and Alexander.
And
Better
Heather.
together.
With Alexander.
And Heather.
Anne is giving
Holy
me
shit, we're going to
look.
Psycho turns
I know.
now.
P.S. The soundtrack to Psycho, your version of Psycho, was on my... I had the CD, everything. The album is out of print. It's one of the best soundtracks ever out there.
Well, it's really good that I don't know that because they wanted
I'm
to
gonna go
do
watch that
some
movie.
kind
Where
of
do you see that?
Halloween
Is that on
thing
the
with me
Netflix?
on Dancing with the Stars and said, we want to do
I know.
you dancing
Oh,
to the
no,
Psycho
no, no,
soundtrack.
no.
I'm like,
But the Psycho soundtrack is amazing, and they do a remix of you and Vince Vaughn's. Like, the best thing is, we all go a little crazy sometimes. But it was so good.
I love Vince.
It got me through college. Okay, we're going to play a little rapid fire. Who wants to go first?
Me.
Ellen.
Heather, strangest thing you've bought during COVID for yourself, not for your kid.
Nothing. I can answer that for her. She doesn't buy anything for herself. She has to have me buy it for her.
You don't buy. That's such bullshit.
If
called rapid
if
fire.
there's anything that's a nice thing for you, you won't buy it. You just won't.
New bras.
I tried.
This is so weird.
Only
They said
because I
new bras.
don't buy bras.
Her boobs are bigger than mine, so she can't buy them on the same place I do.
But I think it's funny when
Oh, no.
moms. My mom put me through like private high school,
Hello?
college, whatever. Had the same bra with like safety pins. I had no clue about.
I
They won't spend the money on bras.
It's a stupid thing to buy.
We don't buy things for ourselves. We put each other. Well, I mean, she started a school in order to not put her kids through private school. So she started
they're
a school.
in private school now.
Now they're in private school, so we don't buy each other things.
Okay.
I mean, we don't buy ourselves things.
Rapid fire.
Heather, least favorite Anne Heche film.
There was one, and this is a true story, and it's sad that I don't know the name
Just
of
name
it.
it.
Me and Krista and Megan went to a movie to watch you, to support you, like into the movie theater. And it was, you were great, but the movie
She's
was
always great.
so bad that we walked out
What
and
was
then
it?
went and got drinks. I don't know. It would have been about 11 years ago, and it was in a theater.
Oh, good.
Well, that
There's a
narrows it
clue.
down.
I mean,
She has a
they
bunch
like
of prolific.
Your listeners would scare that up and let me know.
Yeah,
It was
well,
obviously a
I'm
horror
sure.
film.
When you
I
put
call
It
Anne
wasn't a
Heche-
horror
movies.
film. It was
The
like
horrible
it was a
movies I do.
comedy or some. I can't remember.
Whatever. That's not a good
It was
answer.
really
And by
bad.
the way, when you
This
get
rapid
when
fire
you
is not
are
so
asked
rapid.
to do rapid fire, have your answers on point.
Heather, we know you love the Rams. Their record is a little iffy. But if you were to start a football team, what would its name be?
The Rams.
I was gonna say jam it,
Damn it, Janet.
damn it.
The Rams did lose to the Jets over the weekend, and
mean,
the Jets
like-
hadn't lost a single.
It's
Okay,
like
whatever.
They lost to a high school team, basically.
No, just okay, but they're still in the playoff
How about
running.
Bam,
They're
Bam,
still
thank
in
you,
the
ma'am.
playoff running.
Team. What would your team name be? Like if you
Bam,
were
bam, thank you, man.
It'd probably be the Duffys.
Oh,
Duffy.
that's good.
Oh, I like that.
That's good. And Matt Groening with Simpsons could come in. You know,
Yes.
Duffy beer.
Duff beer.
Yeah. Worst holiday gift you've ever received?
I received a penis stocking, and
Fuck. Now I can't give that to her this year.
it was a penis stocking in
It's
like
a re-gift.
in like an elephant, in a white elephant thing, and
Double balls.
and my husband at the time thought, he's like, what are you doing? Like, what kind of life are you leading that you have this?
I
Like,
hate when people do that stupid shit.
And he thought that I had some double life where I had a life with these penis stockings, but it was just like some girl at the tennis club who gave me the penis stocking as a gift.
This tennis club, like, I guess
Oh,
I
God,
need
you
a
have no idea.
membership. Like, I just want to go someday and just
We'll
be
take
like,
you.
like Ross
We'll
Matthews,
have
like,
to call her,
ah.
we'll take you. She'll
Okay.
take you.
Worst celebrity meeting moment, and I know you've met many celebrities.
Oh, God. Well, I can't say that one.
Oh God, I wanted that.
I
one.
know.
I know. She doesn't. But I'm saying if you do a podcast, Heather, you have to be honest.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay.
Spit it out.
I met Kate Walsh
Oh, that was the show that she.
at Mike O'Malley's.
I fucking created a show as you
At Mike O'Malley's
kidding. I gave
birthday
her a bad
party,
judge.
and she gave a speech about how
Not
he
so.
loaned her $10,000 and she never returned it, and she thought it was funny. And I was like, if I loaned somebody $10,000 and they didn't give it back to me,
You think that's bad? I created a show called
Okay,
Bad
oh my
Judge.
God.
Put her in the as
Okay,
a
so
star.
there's
my
my
God.
answer.
Oh, excuse me.
No, but I
thought
love that
this was
And this
answer.
is why you give people alcohol.
It is. Okay, so we're gonna go. We're gonna go apologize to Kat. She's at the subway down the street, so it's fine. Anne, are you ready for the rapid fire?
You criticized
Oh
my
God,
rapid
Oh
fire.
my God, I thought we were doing it together. I didn't know I was bagging on yours. I didn't know the rules.
Anne, are you ready?
Yeah, go, bro.
If you say bro, by the way. Anne, you could go back in time and originate any role, male or female. Which one would it be?
I don't know because I don't know any. I don't know any roles. I
That
mean,
you
know
were
what I mean?
in.
Oh, that I was in.
No. That you weren't in. Like
No,
a
but that's the
classic
thing. I don't know anything
Hollywood
about
film.
Bob. I was raised in a cult, dude. I always read the Bible and didn't have a TV.
Okay. Worst audition.
Oh, tell that story. Tell the under the table story.
I mean, I
What?
don't know what's worse. I don't.
What was that guy's name?
It's rapid fire.
I know you keep saying that.
How about when I was on a soap opera and they said, "We want you to go meet Scorsese. He's doing another film," and I said, "Who's Scorsese?" All right.
Well, then
I'm
Ileana Douglas took your place, by the way.
No, she didn't. His daughter did. I'm talking about back in. Another World days.
Fix your
Sophia
hair.
took it.
Anne, one acting tip you'd give Vince Vaughn.
I'd give Vince Vaughn.
An acting tip.
Lose weight. I'm so sorry.
See,
Big girls need love too.
No, we're not gonna have him as a guest.
I mean, look at my caftan that I'm wearing.
I'd say, baby, just be a little bit easier on the crew, would you?
Oh, so he's a dick? Okay, say no more.
Strangest habit.
A fat dick.
It's my strangest habit? Wait, what?
Is that physical or is
Did
that?
you just talk about sex?
Well, no.
Oh my God.
Tell you what.
No.
Why do you think she's my better? How much fun
I
is she?
heard that was true.
What? That he has a big dick?
Okay.
I went out with the dude who has the rumor to be the biggest
We
dick.
all go a little crazy sometimes.
Stop.
Anne
What do you
Heche,
mean?
What happens at the end of the show?
I'm just telling you.
We're about to end it. Strangest habit.
You didn't just hear what I said?
Strangest
No, I did hear
habit,
it.
yes.
Oh,
just
and you didn't ask me the question?
No, because he's a gentleman.
What?
He's a gentle person.
That's the craziest thing I've ever
And
heard.
I'm gonna
I just
find
said
it out.
I've gone out with the guy who has the rumor to have had the biggest dick in Hollywood.
Was he in hung?
No.
Oh.
Duh.
Strangest habit, Anne Heche.
She dated Lindsey Buckingham. Maybe that's him.
That was a strange habit, by the way.
I was going to say.
Oh, but I did go on the road. My strangest habit, again, I would say, to you or to me?
To you. You're like, oh, God, this is kind of weird, but I do it.
Dude, I live myself full as I could possibly be. I think it's strange that people think I'm strange.
You have strange sleeping habits.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. To you or to me? Well, yes,
Well,
my
to most.
bedtime is 5 a.m. and my kids say my mom's favorite bedtime is sunrise.
Okay. All right. What would you name the follow-up of your memoir, which we already talked about?
Well, even crazier, but right now,
Even crazier.
I think
confusing.
I'm. But
What do you
right
guys
now,
think? What do you
but right
think?
now-
Call me
stop.
Anne.
Can I answer the name of the title of the book?
Well, you interrupted my rapid fires.
Better
You
Together
started with Dick.
with Anne
And
Heather.
big dicks coming your way.
Dude.
Oh, maybe that
I guess
should
Vince
be my
Vaughn won't
book.
be a guest.
Okay, we got to get her off here.
Better together. No, I think what I want to be about. No. It is the beginning of love. Start with the heart.
What was the question? What? That's a weird
You
name
asked
of
what
a
my
book.
name of my next book would be.
I'm not reading
Oh,
that
starting
book.
with heart.
Do you guys Hello, I'm being interviewed. You just asked what my next book would be.
Yes, beginning with heart. Heather, maybe listen a little bit.
No, I got that
That was
ADD.
totally me too. You guys, this has been such a fun time. Heather, where can people find and follow you?
Oh, God, I didn't know that. Me, personally? The Heather Duffy Boylston?
There we go.
But Better Together with Anne and Heather. I can forget Instagram.
Their own names.
She's forgotten my name. I mean,
I don't know. You can
No,
find
I
us.
call
Find
her
us
the
if you
diva.
want.
I'll call her the diva. I'm supposed to be in the movie set. Fuck
And she's
that.
Anne Heche,
The second we started working together,
but she
and
doesn't have
got me
access
stuff
to
on
her Instagram
No,
because
she's
she
like-
posts crazy shit.
I'm the diva. I'm like, hello,
I did
can we
not
get you
say
out of the
that.
bathroom and get on camera?
What?
No, you're the diva.
All right, well, you can go to AnneHeche.com. It's a great website, and there's a direct link to the podcast.
No, we're better together with Anne and Heather.
I
That's our-
actually made, this is a fun time for me to tell her that I made a website for her.
Oh, it's a great website, by the way.
Yeah, it's called AnneHeche.com.
Is it?
Yeah.
I should follow.
You don't follow a website.
Better
You
together with Anne and Heather.
Heather and Alexander.
Oh, God, you really are tone deaf. I didn't know.
Oh, yes, I am. The nuns told me not to make noise come out of my lips. Just move them.
Oh, well, the nuns.
That's a very
Different idea. Anyway, well, that's our show. It's always a grab bag of fun on the rocks. Big thank you to our fabulous guests, my engineer, Kurt, our intern, Alexis Mendez, by the way, and my associate producer, Michael Vega. And above all, you, our fabulous audience, stay happy, stay healthy, stay sexy.
Until next
stay
time,
tipsy.
live in loving kindness.
Don't be a dick.
This has been another episode of On the Rocks. Tweet me and slide into my DMs on Twitter and Instagram at On the Rocks On Air. Find everything On the Rocks for free at OnTheRocksRadioshow.com. Subscribe, like, review, and share. Until next week, stay fabulous.